Hello, my fellow scientists. Welcome in our study today, whereby we are going to look at the derivative of inverse trigonometric function. Find y derivative given that y is equal to cosec inverse of x. Solution: what we do is we multiply both sides of this equation by cosec y, cosec both sides. So y times cosec is cosec y, which is equal to cosec times cosec inverse of x. Using the powers of indices, cosec power 1, this is cosec power 1 there, times cosec power negative 1. When you multiply two functions from the loss of indices, we are going to add. So 1 plus, we add the index, 1 plus negative of 1 will become power 0, 1, 0. So cosec power 0 is 1. So cosec y is equal to 1. We differentiate cosec y differentiated with respect to x. With respect to y, it is an implicit function. So when we differentiate cosec y with respect to x, we are going to get negative cosec y times cot y dy dx, because it is an implicit function. X differentiated with respect to y, we will get 1. We divide both sides here by negative cosec y times cot y to be left with dy dx, which is equal to negative over cosec y times cot of y. Now, we can use a right angled triangle here, shown here. Cosec y is given by a hypotenuse over opposite. So our hypotenuse will be x, our opposite 1. So that when you divide 1 by x by 1, we will get x, as we have here cosec y is equal to x. So this triangle, we draw it that way, y, x, 1. Now to get the base, it is x squared minus 1. Then we take the square root. Now cot y is adjacent. The cot of y will be given by, from this diagram, will be given by adjacent over opposite. Our adjacent is square root of x squared minus 1. Our opposite is 1, as indicated there. So we substitute dy over dx is equal to negative 1 divided by cosec of y, cot y, which is equal to negative 1 over x. X is cosec y, so cosec y is x, because x divided by 1 is x. So cosec y negative over x multiplied by cot y is square root of x squared minus 1, as shown there. So that is the way. Alternatively, we can use trigonometric identity, sine squared y plus cos y squared is equal to 1. So we divide here by cos y squared. When we divide cos y squared, we divide by sin y squared. So sin y squared divided by sin y squared is 1. Cos y squared divided by sin y squared is cot y squared, which is equal to cosec, because it is 1 over sin y squared, so it is cosec y squared. You take 1 the other side, so you'll, on the left hand side, you will be left with cot y squared, which is equal to cosec y squared minus 1. But cosec y is equal to x, from then given from here, cosec y is equal to x. Cosec y is equal to x. So you substitute cosec y with x and you square. So cot y squared is equal to x squared minus 1. So because here what we have here is cot y, so we get the square root. So we will have dy of dx is equal to x multiplied by that. So given cosec inverse of x derivative is 1 divided by root x. squared over 1. So let us review the process. We want to find the derivative of inverse trigonometric function, and our function is y prime, and we are given y is equal to cosec inverse of x. So what you do, you introduce cosec both signs, you multiply both signs by cosec. So cosec times y is cosec y, cosec times cosec inverse, you use the powers, the laws of indices, whereby you have cosec power 1 times cosec inverse cosec power -1. So when you are multiplying two numbers or two functions, you add the indices. So you have 1 plus -1, which is equal to 0. So any number power 0 is 1. So this part here, all of it, that part here, all of it will give you 1. So you have 1 times x, which is x. So cosec y is equal to x. So we differentiate this implicitly, and we are going to get negative cosec y times cot y dy and dx. You divide both signs by negative cosec y to be left with dy and dx. Negative cosec y and cot y that way. So we now use right-angled triangle as shown here. Cosec y is given by hypotenuse over opposite. So angles y will be at this point. So to get to the other side, we square x and we subtract 1 with x square root from Pythagoras theorem. So cot y will be given by adjacent over opposite. Adjacent is root x squared minus 1. Opposite is 1. Then we come here, dy and dx, and substitute. So cosec y is x, because x divided by 1 is x, multiplied by square root of x squared minus 1. Alternatively, we can use this trigonometric identity, which says that sine squared y plus cos y squared is equal to 1. So we divide here by cos y squared and here by cos y squared and the other side by cos y squared. So cos y squared is 1. Cos sin y squared divided by sin y squared is 1. Cos y squared divided by sin y squared is cot y squared, which is equal to 1 over sin y squared is cosec y squared. So you subtract 1 both sides. So 1 here, you subtract 1 here, and the other side. So here we will be left with the cot y squared, which is equal to cosec y squared minus 1. But cosec y is equal to x. So cot y squared is equal to x squared minus 1. So we substitute in this formula here. We substitute instead of cos y, instead of cosec y, we write x, and instead of cot y, we write square root of x squared minus 1 as shown here. Hence, y is equal to cosec, function y is equal to cosec inverse x. Then the derivative will be given by, the derivative is equal to -1 over x multiplied by square root of that. So thanks so much for watching. Welcome in our study as we continue with our study. I hope that you are learning something which is helpful for your life. You can always reach me at my channel, Luke Aaron 1. You can reach me at my channel name, Luke Aaron, as shown there, Luke Aaron.